Good morning. Welcome to today's webinar event. My name is Joshua. I'm going to be your presenter today. It is promptly 11:30 Eastern Time here. We're going to go ahead and get started. A few technical things before we dive into our event. Welcome to everyone, of course. Okay, there is a handout for today's event too. If you click on the handouts page, that will download basically the handling disaffiliation with the Methodist Church and Church Windows document. I am using that as a basis for that. It is also the document that has the signature page and date page if you choose to take advantage of our services with regards to this disaffiliation. And we really hope, folks, you will give this a good consideration, good look-see, because we really are trying to be able to keep this as affordable for our Methodist Church customers or those that are disaffiliating from the Methodist Church as humanly possible. But there is an expense involved with it. But hopefully you'll see the advantages of where maybe us having our assist or paying us to assist with you has its benefits and will certainly make your lives much easier and better with regards to that in your churches. I mean, the bottom line on this, folks, is that there's nothing easy about this, okay? Both for you as a church, very difficult decision, I'm sure. We're sure, and we know it was. And with that is we're tying into that the fact that Church Windows isn't really designed to deal with this sort of process or occurrence easily. And we're not making any bones about that, okay? This is just simply not what Church Windows was designed to do. Okay, you've got an old church with an old tax ID for either federal or state and or local, and now it's becoming an entirely new, different organization with new tax ID information. And, you know, there's a line in time that we're essentially trying to establish between the old organization and the new one. And so again, there's nothing in Church Windows that really allows us to easily do that. Disaffiliation essentially means that you're starting a new church business, basically, right? You know, you may have many of the same members and visitors and people that are attending your church, but as far as the rest of the world is concerned, you're an entirely new organization. Okay, the date of disaffiliation becomes really, really vitally important, and certainly if you're getting us involved with that, so that becomes part of this process. But if you decide to take this on, then we'll certainly work with you and we'll get that information as needed. But you do need, as a new church, must apply for new tax ID information, and that's detailed in this document as well. Okay. Now, again, that's sort of part of all the technical stuff too, okay? It becomes even more complicated when you're talking about payroll as well, and we're going to talk about that momentarily. But we don't have really a way to go to, again, establish a line in time between Church A versus Church B. Okay, I've stated that. So what we're recommending and what we're suggesting, and all of our disaffiliation customers and churches that were customers that are now disaffiliating now have done, and I've done several of these with folks already, is we're essentially saying you want to have two installations of Church Windows, one for the archived or old church's information, and you're going to back up your data and move that over to that installation of Church Windows. And then you're going to then put your new database for the new church information in either your current working copy of it or your current network installation of it, however that works out. Or even if you're in the cloud, okay, Church Windows web users, if you're a cloud customer, we're going to recommend that you install a copy of Church Windows out of the cloud on your local computer somewhere, you know, and then we bring a copy of the data down from the cloud into that local computer, and then we upload the new church's data into the cloud for you and your users to use from that point forward. There are a lot of moving parts as part of this, folks, and as I'm about to show you, it can become even far more complex, and we're trying to make it easier for you, if at all possible, okay? The new copy, the second archive copy of Church Windows, doesn't have to be networked. It could if you're on a local area network, but it doesn't have to be. It simply needs to be on a computer where someone needs to be able to access it for either reporting purposes or, you know, for finalizing and completing the final bank reconciliations, or producing W-2s for your employees at year's end. Okay, those, see what I mean? There's lots of things and parts of this that make this enormously complex, which does beg the next question, where it brings up that other topic, which is the government technically requires, folks, that at the time you close the doors on the previous tax ID or EIN number, you were legally supposed to print out and send out a W-2s to your employees and file the W-3. Well, the problem with that is, and this is what's detailed in the middle of page 3, first page on the document right there, is the government doesn't even have the 23 W-2s and W-3s available yet, okay? So how do you do that? Well, you don't. What you do is you review that revised process 96-57 or complete what is the Form 8809. Let me say that again. Form 8809, which is a request to file an extension for filing requesting to file an extension to file information returns, okay? That means you're requesting, I want to get till the end of the year to submit all of those required documents for this entity, which is no longer in business. So you'll definitely want, if you're using Church Windows Payroll, or even if you're not, and you're using another payroll system, you want to make sure that you're getting that extension so you're not penalized for not filing those W-2s and W-3s as soon as the church closes or the previous EIN ends, okay? That, again, that kind of, in a long-winded way, is kind of, that's what that's talking about, is fill that out so you don't get into hot water with the government. Again, maintain your second installation so you can then print your W-2s for, the old tax ID number through whatever period your, the old church was, before they closed their doors. And then you'll do another W-2 and W-3 for the new church entity and your employees for that when it's there. So you're going to have two different databases, essentially, okay? And if we have time here at the end, I'll actually go through and I'll show you where you can access that on the IRS's website. But if you just go into the forms, type in Form 8809, it'll come right up for you and you can print that. But to go back to our original question here about some churches are going, well, maybe we don't want to utilize your services, Josh, okay? How would I do this? Your options are, folks, are kind of limited. And I don't mean in the sense that they're limited. There are lots of choices you can make, but do you really want to go through and have to re-enter all your people, your membership data? Do you want to go back through and have to enter all of your donations, giving accounts? Do you want to go back in and key in your chart of accounts from scratch? Are you wanting to go in and be able to have to re-enter all of your employee data and information? And so if you don't want to have to do that, what you can do is, well, first of all, make a backup of your data before you do this, of course. But then you can go into donations. And again, folks, it is imperfect and it's tedious, okay? And as for those of you that have maybe had the software for some time, this could take a long time. And this is where, again, the $249 that we're asking for you to pay us to do this makes this really effortless, okay? But you can go into posted batches, okay? Here I am under donations. I've got all my donation batches. I can click on a batch, click reverse, okay? It opens up, but there is no en masse function, folks, for us to be able to go in, for you to be able to go in and wipe out all of the donation batches in one fell swoop. Again, the software simply isn't designed to do this. So you could go, okay, and transfer. It'll say, are you permanently reversed? Yes. And it'll say reversed. It now opens up our transfer donations to accounting, and I wouldn't even be transferring these into accounting either, okay? You would literally have to go date by date, click reverse batch, and reverse those, okay? Then you're down to no batches in donations, but then you'd have to go back to all the previous years and do the same thing, okay? And similar type requirements would occur in accounting if you were wanting to keep your chart of accounts. You'd have to go into you might try going under special functions, manage years, delete accounting years, and see if you could delete up to 8 or 9 most recent accounting years, 8 accounting years, I think. But then after that, the software requires that you keep those. But then you go into transactions and browse in accounting, and you have to reverse all the transactions. Okay. The other option that you have, so again, you can go into payroll and reverse all the payroll transactions for each year, but you're talking about hours and hours of time spent doing this, okay? The other option is to install and start over and enter a brand new database from scratch. So you're going into membership and you're keying in all the names and addresses and people's names and children and entering birth dates and baptism dates and all of that stuff, coming into donations and entering all of your giving accounts in donations from scratch, entering your chart of accounts from scratch, okay? Uh, Again, very time consuming, very tedious. You're talking about probably spending and paying an employee hours and hours and hours worth of time to go in and enter this data uh, again from scratch, okay? And yes, and you're going to have the old database there to be able to refer back to, as we've clearly stated, okay? So, you know, the database A is going to have the old data in there, and if you choose to go in and do this, your new database is either going to have the cleared out information that you go in and attempt to clear out, as you've clearly seen here, in itself would be very time consuming, okay? Uh, and if you choose not to do that, you can send us the data, and we can usually do this, folks, in a matter of a couple days. You send the data to us, we take care of clearing all that stuff out and putting all of leaving the basic framework of all of your database in there, okay? And so here I'm going to go over here into my other church windows here, not this one, my one with my data, but with what a database would look like cleared out for you with our help, again, for that $249 expense on that, okay? All of your membership data would be here. So if I go into membership, all of your people are still here. You don't, all of their history of attendance, all of their groups and classes participation is there historically if you want to access it. The Again, because that's not really impacting anything in terms of, monies, finances, taxes, information, things like that, okay? So again, all of your membership data would be preserved. The second benefit of having us do this for you is to go into donations. And once we've done the clear out for you, we go into manage accounts here, and all of your giving accounts are still here, okay? But if I go up to something like donations here and posted batches, we see nothing here for 2023. If I click the minus year button, you have no information in for giving in the database whatsoever. You're starting with a clean slate as of right now, okay? Good time at that point to clean up your giving accounts, right? In the old software, in your old databases, one of the reasons why you can't clean out and clear out donations giving accounts is because they have giving tied to them. So because there's no donation transactions in here with our assistance, you could go into manage accounts and you can delete unused or giving accounts you no longer need or want, okay? Again, another reason why our assistants can make this really beneficial for you. Here's another reason why. When we go into accounting, if I go into accounting, notice it's opening up my setup chart of accounts with my beginning balances all completely open for 2023. So we see my year is 2023. My chart of accounts is all still here, okay? But there's no balances, no transactions in any accounts. And when I go up to special functions, manage years, and I click view accounting year information, we only have 2023, nothing before that. Again, good time to go in and clean up your chart of accounts as well, if you really want to do that without having to start from scratch and re-enter everything for you, okay? I believe even if we go in here, the budgets are still in here. Sure enough, they are. You can still come in here and manipulate and edit those as needed, but the budget amounts and information are still in here as well. And finally, when we go into, say, Church Windows Payroll, and forgive me if some of you don't have Church Windows Payroll, but all of your employees and contractors that are set up in payroll are here. We even can assist with deleting old employees that are that are no longer and haven't worked for the church in years. We can assist with clearing out that as well. But all of the employee information, names, social security numbers, addresses, Pay rates are all here for 2023, but when we go down, say, to our totals tab, no prior payroll information appears, okay? So again, we could be saving you hours and hours of your folks of re-entering and re-keying in data and having a line and time established between your other archived Church Windows database for the old EIN entity and your new one. When we've got the data in here, cleared out, we would simply walk you through going into administration here, sysinfo, and when we go to the system information tab, you can just key in if the church name has changed. You would just change the organization name here, enter the new federal and state tax ID numbers as needed. All of that information can all be edited quickly and easily, but there is no association other than through membership of your previous database. And folks, I've even worked with folks who've requested we clear out, they want to start over and enter their membership database. We can leave donations, giving accounts, chart of accounts and accounting, and employees, and delete even the membership data for you if you want to start over with that if you wish. Okay, so we're willing to work with our customers based on this. So if you would like our assistance on this, again, we're having more and more of these occur all the time. Complete this form, get it back to us. We'll get the ball rolling on this right away for you if you wish. And if you're not, and you don't want to do that, and you have questions about how to go in and clear out this stuff as we've, kind of sort of alluded to or detailed here, please call us. Our technicians are available and happy to help. 800-533-5227. Or, of course, with your customer number, email questions to support@churchwindows.com. Like I said, just please include your customer number with us, with that email, so we know who you are and we can record that in our support system that you had requested help. So that is, folks, where I'm going to leave that for today.